that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
The disastrous rise of misplaced power exists.
All we have built, all we have worked for, would be destroyed.
There is nothing the political establishment will not do.
And this nation will not be fully free until all its citizens are free.
Our arms must be mighty, ready for instant action,
These criminals cannot be rewarded.
so that no potential aggressor may be tempted to risk his own destruction.
There is a point beyond which they must not advance.
They're coming after you, and I'm just standing in their way. Here I am.
You and I have a rendezvous with destiny.
The cost of freedom is always high.
Those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening.
Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers.
This is a crusade! This is a holy war against the deep state!
We never wanted to be right, but yet things are all adding up to the firestorm.
America is a land of heroes, a place where greatness is born, where destinies are forged, and where legends come to life. This is the home of Thomas Edison and Teddy Roosevelt, of great generals including Washington, Pershing, Patton, and MacArthur. This is the home of Abraham Lincoln, Frederick Douglass, Amelia Earhart, Harriet Tubman, the Wright brothers, Neil Armstrong, and so many more. This is the country where children learn names like Wyatt Earp, Davy Crockett, and Annie Oakley. This is the place where the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth and where Texas patriots made their last stand at the Alamo. The American nation was carved out of the vast frontier by the toughest, strongest, fiercest, and most determined men and women ever to walk on the face of the earth. Our ancestors braved the unknown, tamed the wilderness, settled the Wild West, lifted millions from poverty, disease, and hunger, vanquished tyranny and fascism, ushered the world to new heights of science and medicine, laid down the railroads, dug out the canals, raised up the skyscrapers. Our ancestors built the most exceptional republic ever to exist in all of human history, and we are making it greater than ever before. This is our glorious and magnificent inheritance. We are Americans, we are pioneers, we are the pathfinders. We settled the new world, we built the modern world, and we change history forever by embracing the eternal truth that everyone is made equal by the hand of Almighty God. America is the place where anything can happen. America is the place where anyone can rise. And here, on this land, on this soil, on this continent, the most incredible dreams come true. This nation is our canvas, and this country is our masterpiece. We look at tomorrow and see unlimited frontiers just waiting to be explored. Our brightest discoveries are not yet known. Our most thrilling stories are not yet told. Our grandest journeys are not yet made. The American age, the American epic, the American adventure has only just begun. Our spirit is still young, the sun is still rising, God's grace is still shining, and my fellow Americans, the best is yet to come.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're in the world. My name is Josh. Welcome to the Red Pill Project's Daily Dose, live with you Monday through Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This is where we bring you the unfolding global conspiracy, and a conspiracy it is. If you asked me 4 years ago if we would be at this spot right now, the specific spot that we're at right now, I'd probably tell you, yeah. We freaking knew this. We knew exactly what was going to happen. Not exactly, but we knew kind of in a sense what was going to happen. And holy shit, it's fucking happening, people. It's happening. Everything that we've talked about, it's unraveling right before our eyes. And it gives me more hope to look at the words of Donald Trump during that State of the Union address and realize that the best is yet to come. That this is just beginning. That, yeah, we have to go through some hard times. Yeah, it's going to be painful for maybe 6 months, a year, or maybe a little longer, but we've already won. If you want to look at it like that, we've already won. The people have awakened. The left is turning on Joe Biden massively. And who are they going to replace him with? I got some information on that. We're going to look at this. As a reminder for this week, I am off the next 3 days. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I will be out of town. I am heading up to my former co-host, my brother, Jason's house in New York for the 4th of July. I hope everybody out there has a great 4th of July if I don't tell you already. I will tell Jay and Mel hello for everybody out there. Thank you, guys. Absolutely, it's going to be a great time. I'm leaving directly after this show. So this show might be, but we're going to try to do the hour. I got an hour's worth of news. We're going to try to get this all in the hour. Might cut it short just a little bit, but this week you can expect in the Daily Doses spot, we're going to have the Naturally Inspired podcast and Unrestricted Warfare. So those two will be playing all week. As long as the episodes keep on coming in, they'll be playing all week, as well as conspiracy streams at night. I'm going to try to get some new content on there. Been doing pretty good with that, though. I'm going to throw some old Daily Doses on there as well. So pay attention to that. If you are new here to the Red Pill Project, the Daily Dose, or anything that we do, go and subscribe over at redpills.tv, redpills.tv, guys. That does help support everything that we do, and it's so much appreciated. As well as, you know, if you didn't know, we have our own private social media network. That's socialredpill.com, socialredpill.com. For the cost of a cup of coffee a month, you can help support everything that we do here at Decentralized Media, the Red Pill Project, the Daily Dose, and help keep us going. As well, on the other side of the house, we do have a sponsor of this show. This is Pet Club 247. If you'd never heard of them, they got products for your dogs, your cats, and you. And they got some great products out there and some more great products actually coming. And so they have products that help your dogs heal, help your dogs kind of rekindle that youth back inside of them, put some skip back in their step. It's really good for elderly cats and dogs, as well as ones that have ailments or diseases. So check that out right there, as well as for you. It's immune modulating mushrooms. You can find that at redpills.tv/mushroom. Get signed up today, man. They got some great products out there. redpills.tv/mushrooms. All right, let's just jump right into it. Why don't we? Karine Jean-Pierre fumes as reporters repeatedly grill her about Biden's cognitive decline, ask if he has Alzheimer's or any other form of dementia. We knew that this was going to become a problem. We knew that this was going to happen. We just didn't know when. And if we go back to the QUE boards, right, it talked about in 2020, in the summer of 2020, before the election, the boards talked about how they will use the 25th Amendment to replace him and put her in. Who is her? We'll talk about that in a minute. Listen to this.
I'm going to ask something delicate, and you may not like it. The president may not like to hear it if he's watching, but I on this. Does Biden have Alzheimer's, any form of dementia, or degenerative illness that might cause these sorts of lapses? And it's a yes or no question. And if you don't know, why don't you, as one of his senior staff members, know?
I have an answer for you. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
It's a no. And I hope you're asking the other guy the same exact question.
So if you notice Karine Jean-Pierre's response here, as he's asking the question, her facial response does not show anything towards the negative of his words, but instead is more confirmation. Typically, when she's asked questions, she's immediately able to jump in there and give a point of disgust or interjection. But here, she does none of this because she knows it's true. Subconsciously, she knows that it's true. That Joe Biden does have cognitive decline. He does have dementia. Now, I didn't know whether to make this show called Panic in DC or The Best Is Yet to Come. I went with The Best Is Yet to Come because of some things that did happen today. But what we have is Panic in DC. Freaking the fuck out is the name of the Axios headline of what's happening in the White House. You can't make this up. This is legitimate panic in DC. Freaking the fuck out, turmoil in the White House over Biden. Officials of the Biden White House and campaign staff says they're feeling rage, sadness, and frustration and resolve over his debate performance and his team's response to it. More than a dozen White House and campaign aides told Axios. Why does it matter? Biden's performance at the debate has left many of his own aides worried about his mental fitness and angry about what they see as a lack of candor from Biden's senior aides. It's the first topic of conversation. One White House official said, senior leadership has given us nothing. To act like it's business as usual is delusional. Another official put it more bluntly, everyone is freaking the fuck out. The uncertainty after Thursday is palpable and anxiety is only increasing, a third White House official told Axios. People are looking for leadership and direction, and they were told to trust and hoped there was, but aren't yet feeling in what is now clearly a defining moment of the presidency. Many officials felt the only way were being given talking points with no real explanations of why Biden appeared unable to string sentences together or articulate a case for himself over Trump. The lack of answers from senior aides has continued this week, leading to growing anger and resentment among many inside the Biden camp. One longtime Biden aide told Axios, Davos Dems, that's right, Davos Dems, love to hedge their bets against us and get hysterical like they did in 2019. And just like after 2020, they will come back with their DNC convention lanyards in their hands, begging for Christmas party invitations and then for a +1. One Biden confidant told Axios, for everyone who really cares about Biden and his legacy, the debate was just painful to watch. It's dark, said an official involved in the campaign. It feels like there is zero leadership or information. People are being told to keep their heads down and keep working, but they're not seeing the president or being given any reason why they should have faith in him. They added, we'll immensely believe in President Biden, his mission, his story, and his steadfast commitment in fighting for the American people. So what are we seeing here? Panic in DC, guys. This is good and this is not good. And I'm going to get into the reasons of why this is not good. But let's just keep on going and look what's happening today. Let's look at more questions to Karine Jean-Pierre and see what else is being talked about and said here.
President get examined by a doctor, or did he get a neurological scan?
Guys, I'll see you tomorrow.
The mainstream media is even taking on the Biden administration, and this is good. This is interesting. Biden debate prep. The preparation that he did at Camp David included daily scheduled afternoon nap time, as well as a special diet. Now that the media can no longer cover for 81-year-old Joe Biden's failing mental and physical health after the week-long nationally televised presidential debate debacle with President Trump, stories are being published revealing behind-the-scenes concerns about Biden's deteriorating condition. In the 23 days leading up to the debate against former President Trump, Mr. Biden jetted across the Atlantic Ocean twice for meetings with foreign leaders and then flew from Italy to California for a splashy fundraiser, maintaining a grueling pace that exhausted even much of his aides. Mr. Biden was drained enough from the back-to-back trips to Europe that his team cut his planned debate preparation by 2 days so he could rest at his house in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, before joining advisors at Camp David for rehearsals. He was at Camp David the whole time. But who was at Camp David? Obama. We do know Obama was there. Why? Because Obama is pulling the strings from behind. Obama, Clinton, Valerie Jarrett, all of these are the real deep state that are pulling the strings and running the Joe Biden White House through proxy through Jill Biden. This is why Jill Biden is the gatekeeper of what's happening right now. But the Biden family, they're stepping up and trying to intervene because they know the circumstances surrounding if Joe Biden steps down, prosecution is going to come about for Hunter Biden. And this is why Hunter Biden had joined White House meetings today as he stays close to the president post-debate. While he is regularly at the White House residence and at events, it is unusual for the president's son to be in and around meetings that his father is having with his team. But Hunter was there, as well as Jill and many others. Why? Why? Because they are planning an exit. And they have to do the exit perfectly. Now, Joe Biden doesn't know his ass from his face. So the question is what is Joe Biden's exit going to be? And when is it going to be? Is it going to be the 25th Amendment? There's a very good possibility of this. Democrat governors are staging a coup right now against Biden, holding secret calls excluding White House and staff, spearheaded by Minnesota's Tim Walz. So this was yesterday afternoon. Just governors, no staff, no one from the campaign or the White House, organized by Tim Walz of Minnesota. This is coming from Jack Taper. If you know Jack Taper with CNN anchor. The meetings would go. Oh, sorry. So it got changed. The meeting is tomorrow, apparently. The meeting is tomorrow. But Dem governors are meeting the talk about action to take against Joe Biden. Gretchen Whitmer, governor of Michigan, just yesterday said that Biden can't win Michigan. There's a map I want to show. I got to pull this up. This was leaked by a Dem pollster earlier today. And this is going to show you the truth in the matter of what is really going on. Nope, they deleted the post. Anyways, what we can see in the polls right now is that Donald Trump is taking a commanding lead over swing states, bellwether counties. This is bad for the Democrats because if they don't do something significant, if they don't turn this around, and there's no way that they're going to turn this around with Joe Biden, there is no way that they can cheat. They have to make a plausible approach towards the election. In order to cheat in an election, you have to be leading in some polls. You have to have some potential to actually win. In 2020, it was easy because of COVID and because of the riots and because of all the stuff that they placed upon Donald Trump with the economy and everything like that. They don't have that right now. So what do? Well, they can bring back the summer of love and riots and protests and social destabilization, but that goes on Joe Biden. They can do economic collapse, but that goes on Joe Biden. So anything they do in the sense of distractions is a negative reflection on the Democrats already because they're the ones in power. So this is a lose-lose situation that we're in right now with the Democrats. Now, Nancy Pelosi today. I think it's a legitimate question to say, is this an episode or is this a condition? Pelosi questions Biden's mental health. This was on MSNBC. It begins. At least 4 Democratic lawmakers, including one congressman, privately have called on Biden to drop out of the race after the disastrous debate. First, sitting congressional Democrat comes forward to urge Joe Biden to drop out of the presidential race. This is Lloyd Doggett, Democrat from Texas. On Tuesday, became the first sitting congressman Democrat to call for Biden to leave the presidential race. While Doggett openly praised Biden's record as president, he said circumstances are too dire for him to continue running. He says, I represent the heart of a congressional district once represented by Lyndon Johnson. Under very different circumstances, he made painful decisions to withdraw, but President Biden should do the same. So Doggett becomes the first openly congressman to do this. The next is going to be many others. Representatives, governors, and donors. Biden will be removed around August, September timeframe. And I've said it, and I'm going to say it again. He will most likely pass away in office. There is a good probability that Joe Biden will pass away in office, natural causes, between August and September 2024. Why do you say that, Josh? That is the only scenario that actually fits into this puzzle. If we think about all the distractions that they can bring about, whether it's the pro-Palestinian, anti-Israeli protesters, whether it's the illegal immigrants taking to the streets and producing absolute chaos, economic collapse, World War III, all of those things aren't met for the Democrats to win the 2024 election or attempt to win the 2024 election. That is what happens after the 2024 election when Donald Trump wins. That is meant for the social destabilization after they don't get their way. That is the scorched earth theory. They will never give up power. They will scorch this earth before they ever do. But how do they get their claws into the election to at least have a probable chance to steal the House? This comes about by the elimination of Joe Biden. They have to remove Joe Biden from the table, and they can't have him just meaninglessly resign because of cognitive health. Because if they do, then all the rumors, all the speculation, everything that Trump has said and the Republicans have said the last 4 years are absolutely 100% correct. That Joe Biden had cognitive decline, he had dementia, he had Alzheimer's. If he passes away of natural causes in the White House, not only does all that speculation get put to the side, people say, hey, we're in a time of mourning. They get the whole presidential funeral process, the investigations in Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, all of that go away. They get Kamala for a few months. This is something that I've been saying for a while. Okay. All the investigations go away. Nobody's going to investigate a dead president's son. Nobody's going to investigate a dead president. But also, they get a clean slate. They get the ability to no longer have to worry about Congress, the 25th Amendment, to file all the articles, to go through all the votes. Now they can just go in there and move. And Senate has that ability to put an interim president in place or allow Kamala to actually take place and then put another vice president under Kamala if they wish. They've done this before, and they've also left the vice president position blank. So imagine this. August to September timeframe, Joe Biden passes away in office. Immediately, we see Kamala Harris come up into the presidency. She will not be the candidate. The DNC will go out there and they will do emergency meetings, and they will come forth and they will put forth their nominee. I've said this before. Michelle Obama's chances of becoming president surge with bookmakers. The odds of Michelle Obama winning the 2024 election surge following President Joe Biden's widely criticized performance during his first presidential debate against Donald Trump, despite the former First Lady having previously ruled out running and endorsed the incumbent. Leading bookmakers Bet 365, Sky Bet, and William Hill are offering odds 16-1, 5.9%, 16-1, and 20-1, respectively, immediately before June 27th debate, according to the compiled odds checker website. As of 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, they have changed 12-1, 14-1, and 10-1. At several points during Thursday's debate, Biden appeared to lose his train of thought, raising fresh concerns about the 81-year-old's age and mental faculties. Okay. What else do we have here? There is another part to this. Oh, I lost it. Okay. Well, here's another part. So we have Michelle Obama, Michael Obama, coming in. We know Hillary is the top contender. Exclusive 1 in 3 Democrats think Biden should quit the race, according to the Reuters IPOS poll finds. The two-way poll found that both Trump, 78, and Biden, 81, maintained support of 40% of registered voters, suggesting that Biden has not lost ground since the debate. That's bullshit. Among the names of top Democrats, but before respondents, only Michelle Obama, wife of former Democratic President Barack Obama, outperformed Biden and led Trump 50% to 39% in a hypothetical matchup. Michelle Obama, author of the best-selling 2008 memoir Becoming, has said repeatedly she does not intend to run for president. Some 32% of Democrats in the poll said Biden should give up his re-election bid following the debate, which he stammered throughout and failed to energetically challenge Trump's attacks. So I think what we will see is a switcheroo. And the switcheroo will most likely be Hillary Clinton with Vice President Michelle Obama. Now, on the other side of the house, what are we seeing? We're seeing the left's rhetoric. One thing that we've understood is that the left cannot deal with stress and pressure. They massively cave under this. And this right here, if I was Biden, I'd hurry up and have Trump murdered, according to BBC presenter, sparks outrage after calling for the murder of President Trump. BBC presenter David Aaronovitch sparked outrage on Monday after he called for the murder of President Donald Trump on Twitter. Aaronovitch has since deleted the call for the murder from X, called on Joe Biden to hurry up and have Trump murdered. This comes along with Harry Sisson yesterday telling Biden to bring in SEAL Team 6 to take out Donald Trump. These people are losing their minds. Why? Because they're not losing their minds. They're losing power. And they see that the power is collapsing. And this means that the Western New World Order, the globalist agenda, is also collapsing. They know that once Donald Trump gets back into power and to office, it's over for them. Now, interestingly enough, Kamala Harris posts this today on Twitter saying democracy is on the ballot in November. No, the Republic is on the ballot in November. But it says here, Donald Trump vows to be a dictator on day one. No, he doesn't. He's never said that. The Democrats, on the other hand, have shown this through and through with every indication that they want absolute power. Vow means that he has affirmed, that he has stated multiple times. He has not. Not only that, as we know with these indictments, right, there was various shots across the bow given to Donald Trump. The first indictment in New York City came on the anniversary of the assassination attempt of President Ronald Reagan. The first arraignment came on the 55th anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. And then Jack Smith's first indictment came on the assassination of Henry VIII. So that's very, very interesting. We know that they're positioning themselves symbolically to show and send Trump a message saying, don't move forward or we will take you out. Now it's becoming abundantly clear because the Democrats are melting down over Joe Biden's performance and the fact that Donald Trump is fucking winning. Not only winning the debates, not only winning the polls, but he's winning in his cases. He's winning with the Supreme Court's alignment. The Supreme Court decision ends Biden's witch hunt against me, according to Donald Trump. It is clear that the Supreme Court's brilliantly written and historic decision ends all the crooked Joe's witch hunts against me, including the White House and DOJ-inspired civil hoaxes in New York. All of these unfair charges represent the worst level of election interference ever seen in our country's long and storied history. It must be understood that I was totally and completely innocent from the beginning of this giant and highly illegal scam. Long before the Supreme Court's decision was released, the impact of immunity ruling is a loud and clear signal for justice in the United States, and I am proud to be an American. From Donald Trump. Now, it's also interesting. I don't have the clip here, but I'll post it on my X account later. Representative Thomas Massey was grilling Merrick Garland earlier today. And one of the things that he said to Merrick Garland is he said, where did the special appointment for Jack Smith come from? Because no new office of special counsel was actually created. And Garland confirmed what Massey was saying, that the appointment was not legal, that the office was expired, which this refers to what the SCOTUS was talking about yesterday, Clarence Thomas, in the sense that an ordinary civilian cannot prosecute anyone, not even the president. The Jack Smith, all of the stuff happening with Jack Smith is bullshit. He has no legal authority to actually prosecute Donald Trump. The office is illegitimate. It was never approved by the Senate or Congress. That's huge. Huge. Let me see if I can find that clip, because the clip is phenomenal. I should have it here. One second. Let me see if I got it. Let me see if I got it right here. Everything is loading very. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Block that shit. All right. Let me see here. Oh, I got it right here. Let me pull it up. No, what I want to do. Okay, let me play it. I found it, man. I found the video. All right, check this out.
Was Jack Smith nominated by President Biden or confirmed by the U.S. Senate?
You're asking me about a case again, motions filed.
This is a simple question.
No, I'm not.
Was Jack Smith nominated by President Biden?
No, he was not.
Was he confirmed by the Senate?
No, he was not.
When was the special counsel statute passed?
There is no special counsel statute. There was an independent counsel statute that was expired.
So it expired. So what gives you the authority to appoint a special counsel? You've created an office in the U.S. government that does not exist, and without authorization from Congress.
Now that is what Clarence Thomas was talking about. This is why the Judge Chukin today, and this is why all of this stuff is getting postponed, and it's going to fall off the radar. Donald Trump is winning like he's never won before. So what's he come out today do? Former President Donald Trump over the weekend escalated his vows to prosecute his political opponents, circulating posts on his social media website invoking televised military tribunals and calling for the jailing of President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, Senators Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer, and former Vice President Mike Pence, among other high-profile politicians. Trump, using his account on Truth Social on Sunday, promoted two posts from other users that called for the jailing of his perceived political enemies. One post that circulated on Sunday singled out Liz Cheney, the former Wyoming congressman who was a Republican critic of Trump, and called for her to be prosecuted by a type of military court reserved for enemy combatants and war criminals. Where have we heard that before? So Trump's hush money sentencing is delayed after SCOTUS presidential immunity. Bragg and the judge are reviewing to see if anything in that Supreme Court ruling has anything to do with his trial, which it's going to. Judge Merchant delays Trump's sentencing until September following the SCOTUS presidential immunity ruling. House Republicans now have the votes to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in inherent contempt following an intense party pushback. So Ralph Norman, Republican South Carolina, announced on Monday his confidence that the Republican Party has secured sufficient votes to charge Attorney General Merrick Garland with inherent contempt of Congress. Last month, Representative Luna informed fellow lawmakers of her intentions to introduce a resolution compelling the House Sergeant of Arms to detain Merrick Garland and present him before the lower chamber. Under inherent contempt, the individual is brought before the bar of the House by the Sergeant of Arms, tried to the body, and can be detained either in the Capitol or in D.C., Luna said. This process demonstrates the seriousness with which Congress views noncompliance and the potential consequences for those who refuse to cooperate. You imagine him getting dragged back down to the House of Congress? This is going to be amazing. So, Supreme Court has made some incredible rulings the last few days. It just keeps getting fucking better, doesn't it, people? One thing that a lot of people missed that many people weren't talking about was the Chevron deference. Okay? This is interesting. So for those who don't understand the Chevron deference is and why SCOTUS ended it, here's a long and short of it. And this is from Spike Cohen, real Spike Cohen on Twitter. And he does a phenomenal job of bringing this out. A family fishing company, Loper Bright Enterprises, was being driven out of business because they couldn't afford $700 per day they were being charged by the National Marine Fisheries Service to monitor their company. The thing is, federal law doesn't authorize the NMFS to charge businesses for this. They just decided to start doing it in 2013. Why did they think they could get away with just charging people without any legal authority? Because in 1984, the Chevron decision, the Supreme Court decided that regulatory agencies were the experts in the field and that courts should just defer to their interpretation of the law. So for the past 40 years, federal agencies have been able to interpret laws to mean whatever they want, and the courts had to just go with it. It was called the Chevron deference, and it put bureaucrats in charge of the country. It's how OSHA was able to decide that everyone who worked for a large company had to get the jab or be fired. No law gave them that authority. They just made it up. It's how the ATF was able to decide a piece of plastic was a machine gun. It's how the NCRS was able to decide that a small puddle was a protected wetland. It's how out-of-control agencies have been able to create rules out of thin air and force you to comply, and the courts had to simply defer to them because they were the experts. Imagine if your local police could just arrest you for any reason, and no judge or jury was allowed to determine if you'd actually committed a crime or not. Just off to jail you go. That was a Chevron deference. It was not only blatantly unconstitutional, it caused immeasurable harm to everybody. Thankfully, it is now gone. We haven't even begun to feel the effects of this decision in the courts. It will be used for years to come to roll back federal agencies, and we'll all be better for it. That's why politicians and corporate media are freaking out about this. Now, one other aspect of this, Federal Reserve, Treasury, SEC, IRS, all four of those agencies make up their own rules and interpretations along the way. This now holds no ground in the sense of like the Ripple case, for example, for cryptocurrency, where the SEC is saying that Ripple is an actual legitimate asset and stuff like that. That is no longer going to hold true. They have to go by the actual constitutionality of what the law says. This has massive implications in the economic landscape, especially when you start talking about the Federal Reserve, or you start talking about how various different agencies control the economic structure of this country through interpretation of rules, policies, and regulations and the implementation of those on everyday citizens. All of that's going to change, which is fucking huge. Dutch King Wilhelm Alexander swears in Geert Wilders, the new right-wing government, which sets right to work to make Netherlands Dutch again. The right are winning elections all around the world, from Europe, the United States, to Northern Europe, everywhere. Why? Because people are sick and tired of Marxism. I talked about this a little bit last night, how the Marxist agenda, they were able to indoctrinate maybe 2 generations, but even those generations are feeling the crunch that's happening right now economically because of bad policies, greed, and corruption that has stemmed from a lot of those social programs. The social programs basically siphon off taxpayer dollars and nonprofits, NGOs, philanthropies, and so forth, and then they funnel that money out without actually helping anybody in the meantime. So there's no actual social help going on with these programs. Instead, it's just a money laundering organization to take money out. People are now seeing the truth and pulling out of this radical ideology. Now, we've talked about the proxy wars that are coming. the two that have already started, Middle East and the one in Eastern Europe. The one in Eastern Europe is the major one that is going to escalate World War III. We've talked about what's happening right now with Israel, Lebanon, Yemen, Syria, and Iran, and how that's going to escalate further. We talked about how China is going to take the island of Taiwan. Just today, China went in and commandeered a Taiwanese vessel. This is going to continue. China is going to take Taiwan probably in the next 3 months before the November election because of their fears of Donald Trump coming back into the power. But what you're going to see is a proxy war afoot before that happens. So North Korea incursion on South Korea or Japan, that's going to basically be a distraction for China to move into Taiwan. But before that happens, you're going to have an all-out war breakout in Iran between Iran and Israel, because Israel is going to begin striking various different targets within Lebanon and Yemen and Syria, and they're going to hit Iranian targets. Iran's going to fight back. Iran is backed by China and Russia. We're seeing the escalation right now with Russia in Ukraine. I talked about how Russia's retaliation on the West was going to be to take out various different NATO and American storehouses in Ukraine. That they're moving these munitions, these systems into Ukraine, not for Ukraine to use against Russia, but for NATO when the war actually kicks off, to have a strategic defense against Russia and to have those things in the ground. Russia pounds the Mirgorod base with Iskander missiles, destroys 5 U.S. fighters, and damages 2 in the worst daily losses for Ukraine forces. This is a military base. I talked about specifically NATO, the U.S. are hiding various munitions and various different types of missile systems, the Patriot missile system, so forth, on these military bases that are heavily dense and operated within civilian populations. Russia has the ability for strategic missile capabilities and is going to utilize them to take them out. And this has just begun. Russia has been eliminating all the Western weapons that are coming into Ukraine strategically. The next part is the war on Kyiv. Now we know NATO is going to move into Kyiv, that they've already talked about putting civilian counterparts in there. We already know that there is British, French, German, and U.S. military operating in Ukraine. It's only a matter of time before NATO gets fully involved. We had the chief of NATO talking about this last week, in the sense of 300,000 troops from NATO, including the U.S. troops, moving into Eastern Europe and putting a defensive position against the Russian borders. This is going to be a reality as we move closer and closer to the election, because when they lose, they will scorch the earth before they ever give up power. So they need a reason to either cancel the election or cancel the transference of power, to basically make everything go to hell, the economy collapse, the global economy collapse, a firestorm event come about, so that they don't have to transfer power. That is their last solution that they have to keep and retain power. This is the preparation for all of that we're seeing right now. Next, we got... The world is sitting on $91 trillion problem. Hard choices are coming. Governments owe an unprecedented $91 trillion, an amount almost equal to the size of the global economy, and one that will ultimately exact a heavy toll on their populations. Debt burdens have grown so large in part because of the cost of the pandemic that they now pose a growing threat to living standards, even in rich economies, including the United States. Okay, I saw this and I had to bring this out there because the world is $91 trillion in debt. To fucking who? Sounds like everybody needs to sit around a table for a little while and just negotiate how to get rid of some of that fucking debt. That would make a lot more sense. But you realize that that's not how the system works. That it's private bankers. And that $91 trillion of global debt is owed to somebody. And a lot of that is private finance. Tells you how rich the world's wealthiest actually are. Check this out. Mini strokes, gut problems. Scientists see links to an old bout of COVID. The link between new health problems and your past health history appear particularly prevalent with COVID. A new Nature Medicine study found that health problems stemming from even mild COVID infections can emerge as many as 3 years after. The study found a greater risk 3 years later of problems in the gut, brain, and lungs, including irritable bowel syndrome, mini strokes, and pulmonary scarring. They're saying it's a new form of long COVID, but I'm telling you that it probably only happens with people who got the jab. It's just more adverse effects. The U.S. is going to pay Moderna $176 million to develop an mRNA bird flu vaccine. Here it is. Finland became the first country in the world to start vaccinating their government and their people from avian flu. Now, U.S. will pay Moderna $176 million to develop an mRNA bird flu vaccine, which they already have. They've had it for a long time. $176 million of your taxpayer dollars going towards the next pandemic that is just right around the corner because distractions, because social destabilization, because pandemics are good for business when it comes to an authoritarian dictatorship. Hurricane Beryl grows to Category 5 strength as it raises southeast of the Caribbean islands and is headed towards Texas. First ever recorded Category 5 hurricane in June. This early on. Actually, it's impossible for that to happen. They're blaming it on global warming, but people are claiming that the government is to blame, that the government is seeding, or someone is seeding the weather. Is that true? I think so. They need as many distractions as humanly possible. They need to shift the tides away from what is happening in Washington, D.C., because there's absolute panic right now. What happens next, guys? July, August, September, October, November. We got 5 months. 5 months, and you are going to see one hell of an epic show. We haven't even got into the drip, drip flood yet. We haven't even got into world-renowned reporters receiving anonymous packages with various documents from the Crossfire Hurricane Biden and Hillary Clinton's emails, who begin reporting on them and pushing them out about late July and early August and September timeframe. This is going to be the fall of the House of Cards. This is going to be the straw that broke the camel's back. This is planned late August, September, October timeframe, where the drip, drip flood comes about. It is going to destroy the Democrats no matter who their candidate is. This is why they need a massive distraction and why I think that they're going to allow Joe Biden to pass away in office. We'll see. Lots of theories, lots of predictions. We will see what happens. But ultimately, I think you understand that I understand. The best is yet to come. That we are on track to get our country back. We are on track for one hell of a next 10 years in this world of what we're going to see happen and unfold. And we're going to be around for it because we're not falling for other pandemics. We're not falling for this fucking new authoritarian nonsense that is coming about with the Western New World Order. We understand that there's better things out there to work for, to strive for as humanity, as the United States of America, as just a Western society. And so buckle up, Dorothy. Let's rock and roll. All right, guys, I am out of here. I'm headed to New York. I hope you guys have a great night. Unrestricted Warfare is up in about an hour, and then Conspiracy Streams coming up right after that. Much love, respect. God bless you guys. If you want to support us, redpills.tv, plenty of ways to support us over there. Much appreciated for everybody who is out there helping support us. Thank you guys. You guys are absolutely fantastic. As well, you can go on over to our redpills.tv, and there's ways to support us directly right there with PayPal, Cash App, our Give, Send, Go campaign. So, and crypto as well. Much love, respect. God bless. Take care. Have a great night. We'll see you guys next time.
Spoon, that's impossible. Only try to realize the truth.
What truth?
There is no spoon.